Hi, all you SPMEs out there. Today's question has 3 answers, and the third answer is a secret as to which podcasts can help you earn tens of thousands of dollars more than other podcasts on self-publishing. So let's get into it. The question that was sent in today was, what are the best self-publishing podcasts? Now, when you're first getting started, it is very important to take in feedback from people who have already been self-publishing for a while. But there are different options available when we're trying to find the right podcast to listen to. And if you listen to the wrong podcasts, it can cost you an awful lot. And you want to avoid making that mistake. Whereas listening to the correct podcasts, where you're getting the right information at the right time, this can help your self-publishing business go viral. The number of books that you can sell can be a lot higher than if you're listening to the wrong self-publishing podcasts. But before I answer the question, let me just tell you, this is Chris Baird from selfpublishingmadeeasynow.com, where self-publishing doesn't have to be so hard. Click the subscribe button if you'd like for me to make more videos like this one, and check out below in the description, and you can grab my free self-publishing secrets checklist to help make sure you're not missing any of the critical steps necessary to making as much money off of your self-publishing. Okay, well, what are the best self-publishing podcasts? Well, let me tell you a little about my story. When I first got started with self-publishing, I discovered that I already listened to a lot of podcasts, and I thought, I wonder if there's any self-publishing podcasts. So I simply went to my podcast program that I use, which is Overcast, or iTunes also has the podcasts within the iPhone. And I looked in self-publishing, and up came a whole series, and I started going through them. And I found some of them had different varying information that was coming from them. Some of them were giving strategies. Others were just sitting around talking about how great their books were. Others would have interviews with authors who would talk about certain things, and some of them I found were quite interesting. In fact, I found some of them where it would be people who were talking about telling you how to self-publish, and they themselves had never published a book themselves, which that completely blew me away. But now I've come to understand in the marketing world, this is very common, where people who are telling you how to do stuff where they haven't done it themselves. And at that time, I didn't know any better. I hadn't published 170 books at the time. And so I wasn't able to exactly say, is this one better or is this one better? But I did find it a little bit odd that somebody would give advice on how to self-publish when they themselves had yet to publish their very first book. Because it seems, how would you exactly know what exactly are the right strategies? Others would spend an awful lot of time talking about the stories that they were self-publishing, or bring guests on their show who would talk about this. And finally, some of these authors would get into very high-level self-publishing issues, like, if you're making millions of dollars, well, what should you use the money on after you've made the money? When in reality, since most self-published authors only, on average, on Amazon, have only make $1,000 a year, this isn't the correct group. And so I discovered that the ones that were most useful for me were the ones that were discussing strategies that I could implement. And that has become one of the key issues when I'm looking for the best self-publishing podcasts. So, what are the best self-publishing podcasts? Well, let me give you my answers. The first is the very video you're watching right now, which may be a podcast or a blog or an email that you're reading. This also is a podcast. I attempt to make everything available to all of my listeners. In fact, my podcasts are probably the most popular of all of the different ways that I communicate. And that's because it's just so easy. I try to make them bite-sized so you can just listen to the podcast. It's short and sweet. It gets in to the point. I discuss key strategies with self-publishing. I give some examples of it. I inform you of some of the tools that I use, and then I'm out. And so I would definitely recommend, if you haven't subscribed to my podcast, you should, because podcasts are actually an excellent way just to get the information you need while you're doing errands, you're doing chores, you're driving in the car, and there's no need to let that be downtime. And this is an important point for all entrepreneurs in general, which is you're going to want to continually be taking in information from a lot of different sources. And that's the reason why I would say don't just listen to my podcast or videos, but some of the other ones. And here's the other one. One of the shows that I started with early was the Sell More Books show. And this particular podcast I found very, very helpful. I still listen to it today because they bring in a number of things, and they also look at market trends, things that are going on within the market, and inform you of ways in which you can do better and sell more books and leveraging the different tools and options that are available. So the Sell More Books show is definitely one I would recommend. The next one I would say is Self-Publishing with Dale. He has a fantastic podcast and YouTube and a whole series of other things. Very helpful information, extremely friendly. And so if you haven't already subscribed to his, I would highly recommend you do that as well. And there are many others, but I would say some podcasts come and go, and many of the ones that I'd listened to previously, they don't exist today, and some of the ones that I appreciated before. But it was interesting because some of them would spend an awful lot of time just talking about their own books as opposed to getting into the strategies that you can use. And one of the problems you can have is learning things that you can't implement. And so we want to do what's called just-in-time learning, not just-in-case learning. This was something I learned from Miles Beckler, and he probably learned it from somebody else, I don't know. But one of the comments that he had put on this particular thing, it's the idea that we don't want to learn stuff like just in case we might need it at some point, because the reality is there is no information that we're going to need just in case. Rather, what we want to focus on is this idea of just in time. So at the level that we're at in your self-publishing journey, you need to connect with successful, established self-publishers who can help you. So if you're listening to my information and you find this is way too advanced, which it shouldn't be because I'm trying to help beginners, as well as intermediate, but mostly beginners, then you should not be listening to me. And if you find that my information is too basic, that you're so far ahead, that you're already making thousands and tens of thousands of dollars a month and I have nothing to contribute, then you should unsubscribe from me. And this is a key issue because I'm obviously not going to be for you because you've already figured out the game. Though you may find strategies from time to time that I discuss that you haven't considered, and that is something that you can still get contributions from this channel. And that's one of the things I try to do, which is break things down to keep it simple because self-publishing really doesn't have to be so hard. And that's something that these other shows that I just mentioned, they also will be hitting along the same lines of that. But the secret answer of today, and this is the thing that will help you earn tens of thousands more or cost you money, it is that the key to good podcasts or information in general, but in good podcasts or the best podcast, they're going to, number one, they're going to help you with the strategies. Strategies are the most important. Maybe second to mindset, but strategies, if you're not implementing the correct strategies to optimize your books, you're simply not going to be selling that many books. So if this is off, everything else is gone. But then comes in number two, and maybe this is equally as important. It's your motivation. I find way too many self-publishers, they jump in and they think I'm going to make millions off of my Kindle books, but they don't understand that if you're not optimizing your books, that comes back to strategy, you're not going to sell that many. And when you first get started, our goal isn't even really to optimize. It's just to get something out there, start getting things moving. And as we move, we then discover ways we can make it better, and we discover the tricks that are necessary to succeed with our self-publishing journey. And so that motivation, it's the gas behind the energy to keep things moving. And and podcasts can be an excellent source to help motivate you. I hope my podcasts are motivational. You should let me know if you find something I could do that would be even better for you, but just let me know. And the final thing is new ideas, fresh insights, things you can write about, topics you haven't considered, maybe types of advertisements. So that would maybe fall under strategies, but sometimes it may be something for which you've known from before, but you're just hearing it in a fresh new way. And that's one thing. I've listened to some podcasts where I just get tired of listening to the same voice and I unsubscribe. And that's probably the right choice to do when you reach that point. Whereas if you're listening to this video, you might consider subscribing to the podcast as well at any of your favorite podcast locations, because I'm always giving away all of the free information because I'm trying to help you become the best self-publishing author that you can be. I've learned a lot, and I really want to just help the self-publishing community and do my part of contributing, just as others have done to me over the years. So hopefully I'm bringing some new ideas, or in a way that you haven't heard it before. And in reality, whenever you listen to anybody new, you initially will find you're going to have a bit of information in a way that you haven't digested it before. And hopefully you'll listen to what I'm saying and not just listen, but try to put it into action and unsubscribe from all the noise that isn't giving you the strategy, the motivation, and new, fresh ideas coming in that will help you on your self-publishing journey. So, and that is the difference between a podcast that can help you make tens of thousands of dollars and ones that can actually cost you money, cost you your motivation, giving you bad strategies, or wasting your time with just-in-case learning as opposed to just-in-time learning. So those are the key answers to this specific question. But what are the best self-publishing podcasts? What have you found are the best ones? Go ahead and let me know below in the comments. I answer 100% of the comments that I get. I love to hear what you have to say. And check out above me here for more answers to your self-publishing questions. Thanks.